I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I knew it. I love when he does that.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Adrenaline in my soul, something, something, Cody Rhodes. I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
Time. But let me go ahead and tell you.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 495 of the Hoots Podcast here on this Friday, December 12th, 2025. Hope you guys are doing well. As yours truly, the nefarious one, Brother Adam, a.k.a. Joshie Lopez. The countdown continues on to our final edition of the podcast at Hoots. No. 5 more episodes, man. It's crazy. We're almost there, guys. Again, I can't continue to fully express how grateful I am for each and every single one of you who not only have been on this journey with us since the beginning, but getting to see what the listenership has been the past couple months, especially with our switch to Odyssey. Odyssey is the home of the Hoots Podcast and my new podcast, the Surf Files. But the fact that you guys still care, and I've seen the numbers each week, it really has meant a lot to me. Because, I've, in a lot of ways over the years where I've been deciding when it's the right time to pull the plug on this amazing chapter and this amazing project in my career, I wonder if there was times where, maybe I could have pulled the plug earlier, maybe we overstayed our welcome. But I think the fact that we're so close to episode 500 and we're going to get there is something that I'm immensely proud of. And I'm accepting the closure now, and I'm feeling it as we get closer to episode 500 that the finality is here of it. But this week's episode is not about me. It's about John Cena. I do have one thing, a personal note that I want to share here in the monologue before we get into what's going to happen with today's show. Today's going to be a little bit of a tribute to John Cena, with this being his last match tomorrow night, Saturday night's meeting. I can't believe it's me. Nearly over 24 hours as I'm recording this in the morning. But John Cena's having his final match tomorrow night against Gunther. And we'll talk about that. I got a piece of clip of John Cena from his interview with Chris Van Vliet this week that I want to share with you guys this week in WWE. But for those who don't know, I finally let the news come out publicly that this Wednesday I'm moving out of Chicago, and everything is official now. And so I'm moving to Winter Park, Florida, coming up on Wednesday, and there's a lot of heavy emotions that I'm feeling right now, especially this week. Not only the build up for John's last match here and reflecting on his amazing career, but also knowing that this could be my last week in Chicago. So there's a lot of finality and reflection that's going on right now in my life, not only near the end of this podcast, but John Cena's career, my time here in Chicago. It's a lot of heavy emotions that I've been trying to keep strong and not break down and stuff, and it's not easy, but this is happy news. For many years, especially on this podcast, I think I expressed the point here that I wanted to move to Florida. And the fact that I am flying out Wednesday morning is just making it all down official. And I think it's going to hit me definitely when I get into town next week. But I just want to say, a big way thank you. Because, in fact, and big thank you to Odyssey. Having to switch over from Spotify to Odyssey's kind of helped me kind of expedite my process in moving, and this is one of those moments where I'm just proud of the grind and the time that's been put into making this move a reality. And there's been ups and downs. There was times where I didn't know if this was going to happen. I've had my thoughts this entire year because I knew for myself on my timetable what I wanted to get out of the city. I wanted to at least be before Christmas or even beginning of next year, but here we are. And this is one of those moments now where I could look forward and be excited for what this next chapter of my life is going to be. But I know that the main core reason for this decision and this move is to rediscover myself again, to go after my dreams and get what I want, and to have something for myself. And it was difficult to do that here. It's a very competitive market in the line of work that I do, and I felt in a lot of ways that there's a lot of things that I want out of my life, and I don't think I can accomplish that here in Chicago. So I need to give us a chance, and I know this is a risk, but life is about risk, and you got to do it. And I don't want to live my life with regret, and I'm proud of the fact that this is happening. And of course, you know, some of these things don't have to be said. Of course, I'm gonna miss my family like crazy. Missing out on Christmas, especially this year, is not gonna be easy. Christmas, for those who don't know, is my favorite holiday of the year, so not getting to be there for Christmas Day on both sides of my family, it's not gonna be easy. But I treated this past Thanksgiving as my Christmas with my family. So in the long way, I am just so overwhelmed with like joy and like I wouldn't call it like a sigh of relief, but it's just like you did it. One of like your main goals that you wanted, you've accomplished, and there's a lot more to come with it. And I know things will get a lot more busy for me because there's other things I have to do to make sure that I maintain this apartment that I have, and the challenge is on. But you know, even during the year, I was contemplating other options and stuff like that. As far as like, I know ultimately that I wanted to move to Florida, but there has been other things that have been crossing my mind as of late, and maybe options for other cities that I would like to live to in the future. Like I have been contemplating going to LA. That's been on my mind. Not recently, but it was on my mind. So that's an option down the road. Of course, home is home, and I am very fortunate that I have a great family and a support system that will welcome me back if I ever change of heart and if things don't go well. I look at it a little more just from a optimistic point of view, and I'm going to make this work. But if I ever change heart, I know that I can come back to Chicago whenever. And you know, I am grateful for my family being so supportive during this process. I know it's not easy on them, and it's not a goodbye forever type of thing, but I have to live my life, and it's just, I wish I could be like, oh hey, I'm working at ESPN 1000 or the Score, and I could live downtown and never leave Chicago, but that's just not the case, and that's just not the predicament that it is right now. And there's a lot of ageism and politics that go in my line of work, unfortunately, because of radio stuff, and you know, having two local radio stations jerk you around and tell you that you're more than qualified for positions for multiple years and still not be hired is kind of a slap in the face. And you know, sometimes in life you gotta take what's yours, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm glad that the news is out now. These next couple days are gonna be a little busy for me. Obviously, we got SmackDown tonight. I will be covering Saturday night's main event tomorrow night. but the rest of the packing is almost done, and loading up the truck on Tuesday, and early flight on Wednesday. My flight's at 7:20. So the next time you guys will hear from me from the podcast point of view is in Florida. So this is my last recording here in Chicago, and I just want to thank all of you friends and family and good brothers and good sisters of this podcast that have been on this ride with me as I've been striving to make this goal a reality. And for those that didn't lose faith in me, I do deeply appreciate it. And we did it, guys. We did it. We got John Cena's retirement tour coming up tomorrow night in Washington against Gunther. It's very hard to contextualize in one saying or even one episode of how much of an impact John Cena's had in the wrestling business. But and I put this out on X last night. Like, I was so fortunate enough to be in the building for a lot of these really awesome moments in John's career and matches. I was there for his debut at that SmackDown. I was there. I was 8 years old. Him slapping Kurt Angle on the face with the ruthless aggression. Being there for U.S. Open Challenge matches. He was doing that at the time with Dolph Ziggler. I was there for the Cesaro one. John Cena and Punk match at Money in the Bank 2011. I was there for that one. I'm trying to remember other great John Cena memories. I was at John Cena winning the U.S. title at WrestleMania in San Francisco. I was at that one, 31. That was a cool moment. It's been a lot of special things that I've been able to... John Cena and The Rock's first interaction with each other, with the John Cena giving The Rock the AA before WrestleMania 27. That was another special moment. And then all these years that I've been able to transcribe his matches and especially this year and the farewell tour in itself has been really, really special in a lot of ways. And I don't want to make this episode about having talking points to the people who feel some type of way about the retirement tour and how it went and blah, 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 or whether it met their fantasy booking standards. I really don't give a shit about that. I really have tried my best this year to just be in the moment and having gratitude for the fact that this has happened and the fact that John went through this without an injury, without any major setbacks, and the fact that there's been a lot of special moments this year. Regardless of how you feel about the heel turn or whatever, there's been a lot of special moments this year. And as somebody who's been doing these like transcripts and play-by-play articles for about a decade, I'm glad to say that I was able to cover an entire farewell tour for one of the legends of the wrestling industry. It's going to be definitely missed, man. So there's a little bit of a tribute clip that I want to play here for John Cena. It's by Josiah Williams from Wrestler Flow. I think you guys may have seen this if you're on X. He did a little remix of John's song called Right Now. I want to play that for you guys. And this episode is going to be a tribute to John Cena. It was a salute to one of the most purest and authentic human beings that was ever in the wrestling business, and a man that stood by his word and his actions, and he's definitely one of the GOATs for sure. So from everybody here on the podcast of Hoots, thank you, John, for everything. Thank you.
I wonder in those couple seconds for the music hits, when it's hitting you, it's your final moment doing this. Does it take you back to when you were fresh and new to this? When you refused to be complacent, a confident adjacent. You stepped up to the plate and as a man you went and faced it. Failure wouldn't hold you back. And the motto was prepare for every second, be ready when you get shoulder tapped. Every word you wear is how the people speak of you. For so many others it's unbelievable to represent a way of life on TV and they have to go and see it through. But when it comes to you now we don't need the proof. Seen a lot of talent get challenged, but when you read the room at least one of them wonders how it's Cena move. Get it right back to work. Cause when you holding the title, it's easy to see the stress come. Knowing you only as good as your next one can't be consumed. Big lessons, get back to pen pressing. Let that be the vent session. I've been stretching these skills, that's what got me from the mill to the PC. I remember the day John Cena told me that he could see me. You shook my hand, said I was a new face. Shared a couple things to help me navigate this new space. Told you that I'd never forget the advice that you gave. Started finding rhythm in my role, then I noticed that the groove changed. It didn't go the way that we discussed it. I had the talent but couldn't handle seeing the judgment. Then there were times I walked around and felt I needed nothing. My attitude needed readjusting. Prayed about it, God was telling me it was him that I wasn't trusting. Second time we met, I asked about a similar subject. You said failure was inevitable, but eventually it leads to a moment when you're tested and potentially redeemed. I needed that. Constantly encouraging, you always could see the math. Even when you wasn't confident that there'd be a path. Dedicated time to your work, and it never was just learning the craft. You had to be the craft, selecting the target, connect with the audience. You was expecting to be discarded, and turned it to gold. Wouldn't sell it even if your list of burdens would grow. Here we are now when the curtains are certain to close. Whether fighting or spitting, your history is much cemented. A perfect vision you were gonna finish. And putting eyes on the ones who will follow you, man, what a decision. Going out on your own terms. Wherever this road turns, our predators followed by peace. That'll give you everything you desire and need. And I hope you know you gave us a fire indeed to be the people we've been inspired to be. Bless you.
To the Hoots Podcast, everybody. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Before we get to all the extra activities that's going on tomorrow night, it's Saturday night's main event. I do want to mention a couple plugs we get out of the way that I forgot to do the intro. Don't forget to follow me on X at the Hoots Podcast, Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music. Make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Right now we're at 1,100 subscribers as we're on the road to 10,000. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate the support as always. Also, if you're on YouTube, please go to the Sur Files. That's S-U-R, the Sur Files on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel as well. That's going to be the new home for my new podcast, the Sur Files with Matt McCool, as we take a look into the world of Bravo and Vanderpump Rules, The Valley, and a lot of stuff on the Bravo universe. So we're 2 episodes in. It's been fun so far getting to reunite with Mitchell McNeil on the mic, and it's like riding the bike. We haven't skipped a beat. So we're having some fun with it. It's a cool concept where we're looking back at the history of Vanderpump Rules specifically, and it's a cool concept project that we're doing right now. So the Sur Files will be replacing the Hoots Podcast after episode 500, and the Sur Files, you can find it soon on audio on this feed. I don't want to get it all mixed up with what we have right now on this particular feed, so I'm not going to post the audio of the shows on our audio feeds until after episode 500, but you can check out new episodes of the Sur Files right now exclusively on YouTube right now, and that'll help us out a lot. Also, don't forget, you can check out my play-by-play work in the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com and ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com, which is my own website. And I think that's pretty much it for plugs. Don't forget, also, if you want to participate in episode 500 and send me any audio shout-outs on my way out, from the Wrestling Talking Space. I'd love to hear from you guys. You can send me an email at the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com, and open to any thoughts and any. It can be as long as you want, but please send it in an MP3 file so I can play it on here on episode 500. And we're close, guys. 5 more to go. So there's a couple things that we're going to do for this week in WWE. First, I'm going to play this portion of the interview that John Cena had with Chris Van Vliet the other day. And also, I'll give you my thoughts from NXT Deadline, and then I'll do the preview for Saturday night's main event, and then we'll wrap it up with the Q&A session as always. But first, let's hear from the man himself, John Cena, the man of the year, one of the GOATs, having a great conversation here with CBB, the best interviewer in the business, on Insight this week. Check this out.
I think your heel turn was one of the greatest heel turns in the history of wrestling.
Gosh, you're trying to get some action here. I know.
The heel run, I think, is different than the heel turn.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the heel turn that night in Toronto, Elimination Chamber, and then the months that we saw after that?
So if you, again, this is just my perspective. What I like is people are talking about it. And the cool thing is, people who are critical of it, apparently had some idea in their head about what they wanted, which is great, because that means you're attached. That means you care. Like, I enjoy that, and I hear that criticism. When we did it as a big moment, but with a purpose. Hey, this is going to ignite something with you and Cody. It's going to start in February and end in August. Because you only have 36 broadcasts, and Into It and Rumble are gone. So now we're down to 34. And then we need some on the back end with you actually being a good guy. So let's take it down to 24. We kind of have to tell a story that should be 2 years long, 52 weeks a year, plus 14 to 18 PLEs. We got to do it in like 20 episodes of television. Okay, so it took my focus on Cody, on the championship, and on frustrations that I've had, genuine, it all comes from a genuine place, things I could say. I'm so happy to say that I wouldn't retread the course, because I gave everything I had. My poor wife, I wake up in the middle of the night writing promo lines and thinking about spots and stuff. The opponents I had were great, but I remember everyone talking in February and be like, yes, this is how things change. Yes, this is a good plan. Okay, guys, if I'm going to ruin this thing, like, I'm gonna wrestle methodically. Like, I have an idea of what ruining wrestling is. I'm going to ruin it.
Yeah. What does ruin wrestling mean to you?
Taking the fun away from the fan. If I'm an advocate of, like, we can't do this without you, and then I finally realized, like, man, you guys are kind of abusive, and I'm a victim. advantage. I really loved that match. Everybody happy. Yeah, they see WrestleMania, I'm like, what the F? And then they see, all right, cool. And then the next guy gets Punk. And then the same thing, gosh, one of the moments in sports entertainment that's larger than sports entertainment is Phil Brooks going to Saudi Arabia. That just made me cry. Like, awesome. Accountability, vulnerability, apology, forgiveness. Man, cultures melding into each other. And then he comes out and does my gimmick. Like, how do you follow what I did? He came up with this crazy idea. I'm like, dude, you have to do that. And he crushed it. He absolutely just crushed it. And what a trip for him. Like, redemption, acceptance. Now he can go there wherever he wants. So I don't remember in order to. It's people, we get hung up on these moments, and I'm not saying don't be critical, but when I look back at it, I see like, all right, pivot. We tried this. They were brave enough to allow me to try something bold. They were also brave enough to say it's not working, and I was great, accountable enough to be like, all right, what would you want?
I think what people are focused on is who else was in the ring in Elimination Chamber, right? You turned heel with The Rock and Travis Scott.
Sure.
What was the original plan for the involvement of Rock and Travis Scott?
This is where, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. We can talk about what could have been until the cows come home. I think that's what's great about the people who were left standing. Certainly me and Cody. Changed. What's the change? This. All right, let's go. I don't dwell for 1 second on what could have been. Because what could have been is Rock doesn't leave for the NFL. There's no John Cena. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
could there have been a match with Rock this year?
Man, could there be anything? That's the thing. That's what sucks about what could have been. It's not what is. So, I think a lot.
Was that ever talked about?
I don't care. Like, first of all, that doesn't. I'm always the last to know. It doesn't trickle down to me. If you watch Unreal, like, that process is genuine. I talked to Rock, and then I talked to this. The last guy I got to call is John. I'm usually the last guy they call because I'm the easiest. Yeah, let's do it. No problem. I'm in. So I don't sweat and have those guys say, cool, what do you want to do? We would like to do this. We need you to start being more competitive. We want to put you in these matches. We're going to build to this. That's over. I didn't even get that. Okay, fine, great. What are we doing now? That's what's tough. And I think it's great to talk about. It gives good argument. It gives good perspective. Like, how do they book this stuff? A lot of that stuff's beyond the control of even the people who own the sandbox. If I decide to walk, I have contractual obligations, but I'm not going to be there on the 13th. Like, if I decide that, then they'll figure it out. Like, I saw Austin get fired. You know what I'm saying? I saw Brock leave. I saw, Dwayne take his break. Like, I don't sweat any of those guys for what they did. Austin was worn out. Brock was probably going to assault somebody in an airport. And Dwayne had such great opportunities. I don't fault people for being like, I can't do this right now. McAfee being burned out behind the booth. Guys got so many opportunities. Dude, you got to just focus on what you can do well. I don't sweat him for that. But, like, shit changes. Open opportunity, you come way better. And I love listening to that kind of TV. Not that I didn't love Pat, but I really like listening to this dude.
It's fantastic.
So, I don't really sweat, like, but could there have been? That's why I don't choose my opponents. Like,
You didn't choose a single opponent this year?
Only thing I wanted to do, the only idea I gave was about Saturday Night's Main Event on the 13th. Saying it should not be a John Cena show. If everybody's saying you're going out on your own terms, which is BS because I want to do it forever. Okay, you have an idea of, like, this is how I want John to go out. You do. I have an idea of how I want to go out. And how I want to go out is not by folks remembering what I did. NXT kids a chance to be there. And I want to give major WWE superstars a chance to be on the card. It's a limited thing. It's not WrestleMania. It's limited spots. But that's how I want to go out. And there'll be people to criticize that of like, man, my theory or my perspective was if you do a whole show on John, two things can happen. Too much, not enough. No one's ever going to be like, nailed it.
You can't please everybody.
So the person whose last match it is, I was like, Triple H, I think this is a good idea. Because we're going to have a lot of eyes on Peacock. The 13th is going to be one of those moments that, like, it might float beyond our sphere. You know, media might pick it up. I think people will be into it. Let's show what we got coming up, man. And let's give the live audience, let's not just make it NXT matches. Let's give the live audience a chance to hear Cody's music or Becky's music or whomever you want. And then match them up with a non-canon exhibition. Storyline starts and ends that night. It's a chance to put your business card down. To be either like, I am ready for the big time or I'm not ready for the big time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
alright. Pretty dope stuff there with John and the man they call CVV. Yes. So, let's look into the card that we got for tomorrow night. I'll make this quick. I don't want to keep you guys here for too long for this episode this week. We got Bayley against Sol Ruka. We got Cody Rhodes and Obafemi. We got this match was announced on Raw this past Monday with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee putting the World Tag Team titles on the line against Javon Evans and Leon Slater. And the last match, of course, we got John Cena and Gunther. John Cena's final match. Like he just said right there before the clip ended, it was about, you know, non-canon exhibition matches, and you got your, like you said, put your business card out there. Hey, here I am. Let me see if I'm ready to say like, hey, I belong here, and we'll see who does and who doesn't tomorrow night, and that's the fun part about it. So the card looks really good tomorrow night. I think maybe we'll have some surprises. I think it would be cool if like Batista was in the crowd or something like that. I have a feeling if any like predictions you're expecting from me, all I can say is that I think that Gunther will win the match, and I think Cena will get a bit of a Ric Flair treatment, like how they had on that Raw after WrestleMania 24, where the locker room came out and people, John Spear came out to celebrate with him. I see that happening, so I'm looking forward for that. What was I gonna say? Yeah, like it'd be cool to have Batista come out, like Shawn Michaels, even Triple H. Undertaker's gonna be in town. Randy Orton, Punk is gonna be there, obviously. Tomorrow night's gonna be very, very special, and I'm excited. If The Rock shows up tomorrow, great. If he doesn't, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, to be honest with you. But you know, this tomorrow night is all about John Cena, as it should be, and I'm really excited to cover this event. It's going to be very, very special. A couple things off the top of my head I wanted to mention for Raw and SmackDown. Tonight we got Ilya Dragunov against Tommaso Ciampa for the United States Championship. That's going to be pretty dope. And we got Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest against Aleister Black and Selena Vega, mixed tag match. But I want to send my condolences to Selena for the passing of her uncle. I saw that on Instagram. That was really, really sad to see. So my condolences go out to Selena and her family. Really quick, what else I wanted to mention from SmackDown? Oh yes, the way the show kicked off with Cody just like trying to commit homicide on Drew McIntyre as he got into the arena. I thought it was funny. It's like going against his car, like beating the shit out and trying to get retribution for what happened on the Nightmare Family bus. That was a cool way to kick off the show. By the way, big props to Solo Sikoa on his promo on Uncle Howdy on SmackDown this past week. That was dope. That was tremendous. So I want to give a big shout out to Solo because he doesn't get enough props from my colleagues, and I thought that was some really good stuff. He's like, I'm going to show you why you don't deserve the name White. That was some good shit. Then we go over to Raw, a couple of pretty solid matches on the program, if I must say. Io and Kairi Sane was really good. We had Logan Paul against LA Knight in the main event, which is a rematch from their U.S. title match from SummerSlam 2024 in Cleveland, where LA Knight beat Logan Paul for the championship. Logan and the Vision just absolutely demolished LA Knight to close the show this past Monday. Bronson Reed doing that tsunami off the production crew was insane. LA Knight getting a well-deserved rest break. They said it so many times over the year, like, hey, Knight's wrestled the most matches out of the calendar year for the Superstars, so this is his write-off for the rest of the year. And maybe we see him at the Rumble, or maybe that first Raw back on Netflix on January 5th in Brooklyn. So, another stellar promo from Braun Breaker. Him saying that he would take AJ Lee is kind of crazy. Gunther kicking off the show. I enjoyed his promo as well. I thought Raw was a really, really good show this past Monday. I really, really enjoyed it from Kansas City. I thought the crowd was good. The vibes were good. We had one of the main takeaways that I had, just in general from what I've been seeing on programming as of late, has been really the rise of the tag division, not only for the guys, but also for the girls too, especially on the Raw end of the spectrum, especially in the male side. The standoff they had with the New Day, the Usos are now back together fully in the tag division. We got AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, who are the champions. You got the War Raiders. You got the Creed Brothers. Judgment Day is still around with Finn and JD. You got a pretty stacked tag division there on Raw. So I thought that was pretty nice to see. So that was really my quick thoughts on that for both Raw and SmackDown this week. And then finally here for this week in WWE, let's talk about NXT Deadline. And I'm going to say this in the description of the video for our podcast this week. Me personally, I'm glad that NXT pisses Bryan Alvarez off. I personally and professionally am glad that NXT gets on Bryan Alvarez's nerves, because this is a slap to the face to somebody who thinks he's the smartest person in the room, who thinks his shit doesn't stink, and he thinks he has all the answers, and he thinks that Javon Evans is the second coming of God. Again, don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody to take this out of context and be like, oh, Joshie doesn't like Javon Evans. I do. I'm a fan of his work. He's fantastic. Do I start feeling some bit of grain of salt when it comes to certain performers that are hyped overly huge by the IWC and the Echo Chamber? Maybe. But Bryan, I'll just say this. And Eric Bischoff brought this a good point on his podcast a couple weeks ago on A3 Weeks. Dave Meltzer doesn't realize the damage that he does to the AEW brand. Tony Khan doesn't realize the damage that Dave Meltzer does to the AEW brand, because that's all they really care about is getting these Observer Awards and the Booker of the Year and blah, 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 and the 5-star bullshit. But I don't think Bryan Alvarez is realizing that he's doing more damage to Javon Evans than he realizes. Him going out his way this week, and I don't really go on my way to search for this content from Wrestling Observer. I try to stay away from it as much as I can, because an insult to journalism and media to call that an actual news outlet. So when I have to see, when I log in on my X, or I go on X on my phone and I see the timeline and I'm seeing these short clips and reels of Alvarez throwing hissy fits over the fact that Javon Evans didn't win the NXT Championship this past Tuesday, they're telling a story right now where he's getting too exuberant for his own good at his young age. Nobody's denying his talent. Nobody's denying how good he is. But he's telling a story. If you're just going to shoot him up to the moon and just put him in a title and act as if he's the next WrestleMania main eventer just because he moves around the ring like Will Ospreay, that's not telling a story, that's not developing the character, and that's not doing anything for Javon Evans. You're putting it in a box. Yeah, Javon Evans is just as athletic as Will Ospreay, but that doesn't mean he has to be winning the Royal Rumble or getting to the main roster and being in a marquee match by WrestleMania 42. Bryan Alvarez. He's fantastic. Nobody's saying he's not. But you expecting him at 21 years old to be a WrestleMania main eventer and having all these titles on him, if he's your favorite wrestler and you think he's the best wrestler in the world, fine. Whatever, I don't give a shit. But you are not doing him any favors with these little 13-year-old soliloquies and diatribes you do every week about the guy. It's not a good look. And just because your favorite's not getting booked the way you want does not mean that NXT is not a good show. In fact, it's actually a really good show, and it's the most consistent television show out of all the wrestling shows that are on television that are on right now. And that includes Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite. Whether you want to admit that or not. So, look, again, I want to stress this point, guys. I'm a fan of Javon Evans, but Bryan Alvarez is not helping him out whatsoever with these consistent diatribes and bitch fests. Grow up, dude. Grow up. My takeaways from Deadline is this. I thought it was a fun show. These concepts of a Deadline with the Iron Survivor are always good. It's one of the most difficult matches to cover each year. To be honest with you, it's really difficult how fast the match goes and stuff like that. And a lot of things with NXT, it's like if you have like ADHD and have very, very short attention spans, like NXT is the show for you. Like for me, even sometimes when I'm covering the weekly show, it takes me a while to finish the show because the matches go by. The matches are good. Sometimes the matches just kind of gets like an AEW vibe where you can't like breathe and can't really process what's happening. And then like there's so much stuff going on in the backstage area, and there's like Shawn Michaels wants to fit like 70 people on every episode of NXT. It's a difficult challenge, and I appreciate that challenge of covering NXT each week. But for Deadline, I enjoyed both Iron Survivor challenges. I've been saying it for months now. I think it's funny now people are riding the bandwagon. I've been saying that Kendall Gray is the next big thing for, I don't know, 5 or 6 months now, even before Evolve started as a brand on Tubi, that Kendall Gray is really good, not just from a looks department, but all around. She's just fantastic, and I'm excited for her match with Jason Jane. I enjoyed their segment that they had on NXT this week. It's going to be a good match between Kendall and JC. That's going to be very, very good. JC is another one that doesn't get enough props from my colleagues. We saw the return of Tony D'Angelo, which was pretty cool. The Don is back. We had... trying to remember really quick. Oh yeah, Ethan Page and Mr. Iguana was pretty fun. The match that kicked off the show with Ricky Saints and Owen Family for the NXT Championship, I thought was pretty good. And I enjoyed Taylor Paxton and Izzy Damon. I thought Izzy was the right call to win that match as well from NXT Deadline. So that's my thoughts on that. On that note, folks, that is my thoughts this week in WWE. When we come back, we'll answer your questions for this week's edition of the Backboards Q&A session right here on episode 495 of the Hoots Podcast. As the road to episode 500 continues. We'll be right back. Yeet. All right. Welcome back to the Hoots Podcast. Time to answer your question for this week's edition of the Backboards Q&A session right here on the podcast. The Hoots, let's do it. Strong DX from good brother Chris Zaletta and X Team Zaletta 24X on the Twitter machine. Let's see what he has for us this week. He says, "What up, Boost? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Is this some of the best work we've seen in the women's tag team division?" I will say that is a correct statement, good sir. I agree with your assessment there. Thoughts on the Ricky Saints turn? I thought it was the right call. His little Pammy-mammy, woe is me attitude the last couple of weeks was kind of odd, so I kind of figured that was the route they were going to go. So that was a good decision there for NXT. Favorite match from NXT Deadline, the Women's Iron Survivor match. But also the opening match was really good too. So my favorite one was the Women's Iron Survivor match. Have you watched any of the Diddy documentary? I haven't yet. Things have been going really busy right now, Chris, obviously. So I think for me personally, I want to see it. It's just I haven't had time. So once I'm like all settled in and moved in with Florida and everything, I'll get a chance to catch up on it. Thoughts on the Colts dragging Philip Rivers out of retirement? I'm surprised that he's going through with this. I really am. I mean, more power to him. I always say this about Philip Rivers, and my mentor Jonathan Hood would always say this, man. Philip Rivers was like one of the most entertaining quarterbacks, and it was like clockwork. Every time, right before 60 minutes, the Chargers are about to tie the game or have a game-winning drive, and it's Cadillac Philip Rivers. And I'll tell you what, man. Philip Rivers was a good quarterback. He had a lot of stats and a lot of touchdowns, so we'll see what happens. I'm genuinely surprised that Philip Rivers is going through with this, so we'll see what happens. Your top 5 Cena matches. Great question. One thing I forgot to mention earlier was I was at John Cena and Triple H for WrestleMania 22. That was an awesome moment too. Let's see. For me personally, these are personal moments. Number 1 is the Punk match. Second, at Money in the Bank 11, I should clarify, Punk and Cena at Money in the Bank 2011. Second is the Triple H match from 22. 3 is number 3 for me is going to be the AJ Styles match from the Royal Rumble in 2017. 4th one will go to John Cena and Shawn Michaels, the hour-long match that they had in Monday Night Raw. And then the 5th one for me, I got to pick one for this year because he has some really, really good bangers. You know what? I'm going to go with that John Cena and Cody Rhodes match with SummerSlam. I'll put that in my top 5. Yeah, I'll put that up there. Either that or the one with the first Rock Cena match from 28. So those are my top 5 there. Who do you think is Cena's greatest rivalry? I'm gonna go with CM Punk. That's his greatest rival in my opinion. Who is someone that you really wish Cena faced in his retirement tour? That's a good question. I'm gonna go with Kevin Owens. This due to injury, he wasn't able to make it happen. But I would have loved to see him fight Kevin Owens for sure. And I was surprised that we didn't get a Cena Seth Rollins match too. So I'll probably say Kevin and Seth. Does Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin go their separate ways after this season? This is a question that happens every year. I don't know, Chris. It's one of those I'll believe it when I see it type of things. That's up to Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens for the rest of the season, but I had to believe it to see it. I had to see it to believe it. So we'll see about that. which match are you looking forward to the most for Saturday night's main event? Outside of the John Cena matches, for me, I'm excited for Cody Rhodes and Oba Femi. I want to see how that looks like, and I think the tag title match should be pretty dope too. And plus, I get to see Sol Ruka on my TV, so there's nothing to complain about there, man. Holy moly, she's got some good waterfall. Last question: If you pick between the two, which is more likely to happen? Cena beating Gunther or Oba beating Cody? More likely, I'd probably say Oba. I think Oba beating Cody with the help of Drew McIntyre, I can see that happening. Yeah. I'll go with Oba Femi. I don't know if... I don't know if it would shock people if John beat Gunther, but this is the way I'm seeing and how the flow of things are going right now. I think Gunther would beat John Cena, and I think Oba would beat Cody Rhodes, so we'll see what happens. But I want to thank Chris for the great questions. Always make sure to throw up the X rim and follow him on X at XTeams24X on the Twitter machine. On that note, folks, we're going to put a rim in the bow on this week's edition of the podcast at Hoots. I want to thank each and every single one of you for hanging out with me this week as always. I love every single one of you who have been on this ride with us. The countdown now from episode 500 now, it goes from 5 more episodes now down to 4. We're on the final leg here. Literally final leg here. So, I love y'all. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I want to thank all the good brothers, Sam, Pat, Brandon, Brother Carter, Matt, Referee Tony, my family, and everybody that sent me really, really, really warm regards and positive statements regarding my move to Florida, and I love all of you for that. Thank you so much. It has really meant a lot to me this week, and I want to send, more importantly, a big shout out to John Cena for having a remarkable career and being a man to leave the industry with his head held high and staying true and pure to who he is as a human being. We're all going to miss you, John Cena. You're a one-on-one, and thank you so much for the memories and everything you've done for the wrestling business. Thank you, John, for everything. Don't forget, folks, you can check out new episodes of the Hoots Podcast anywhere you get podcasts from, but our home of the Hoots Podcast is Odyssey. Make sure to check out the Surf Files, my new podcast on Vanderpump Rules with Matt McCool on YouTube at the Surf Files. And don't forget to hit that like button and smash the subscribe button here on our podcast feed, the Hoots Podcast. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers, baby. Also, one thing I want to mention, don't forget to check out my play-by-play transcripts in the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com and or ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. You can hit me up on X at the Hoots Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music. And I think that's pretty much it, man. I love all you. Remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. Remember, nobody dictates the pace of life but yourself and the man upstairs. I'm Joshie. This has been episode 495 of the Hoots Podcast. As the road to episode 500 continues, go down to 5, down to 4. We'll see y'all next week. And one last time, thank you, John. We love y'all. Yeets.
Bye-bye, bitch.